excited for today's episode because we're diving into something every woman deserves to understand: empowering her body, her recovery, and her power to heal.
Joining us is Claire from the Women's Rehab Collective, an award-winning MSK practitioner and incredible specialist in women's health, recovery and movement.
Claire and her team are all about rewriting the story of recovery, from postpartum to perimenopause and beyond, with empathy, science, and giving it to us straight.
We'll be chatting about the myths and must-knows regarding pelvic floor, postpartum recovery, looking after our boobies, and hearing more about Claire's How to Fix Your Fanny campaign. Tell me more. What does recovery really look like? How women can support their health at every age? And the mindset shifts that can change everything.
Claire, welcome.
Thank you.
We can't get into this conversation. We can't wait to get into this conversation, but please try not to make me too laugh because, I can't guarantee either one of us won't wee ourselves. Because every time I talk to you, you've weed yourself. And I'm 2 kids down and everyone goes, but you had a C-section. I'm like, it still happens.
Yeah.
And I constantly have to cross my legs because I cannot guarantee that.
And that's even if you've not had kids, that it's that common. I think it's 1 in 3 women now.
Yeah.
Stress incontinence. And the big thing is that it's common, but it shouldn't be normal. And we've kind of got into this habit of normalising it, of going, I've had kids, or I've had vaginal birth, I've done this, that I just piss myself when I jump, when I laugh, when I do all these things. But actually, as common as it is, it shouldn't be normal.
No, and I mean, we will get back to getting into the incontinence chat, but I mean, as you're mentioning it, I had heard that something like, is it 30% of women that are in care homes don't actually necessarily need to be there. They're actually there for incontinence. Wow. Because especially as a generational thing, you never talked about it. You didn't do anything to manage your pelvic floor. And they're actually in care homes due to incontinence.
No way.
But everything else is fine. But anyway, we'll get back to that. What inspired you to start the Women's Rehab Collective?
Well, I'd always been into health and fitness and things. And then when I had my first daughter in 2010, so I was pregnant 2009, and I was just looking for things to do. Everything was anything that you did pregnancy-wise, it was kind of just you sit out of this bit, or, coffee and cake and things. And I was like, no one outside of me midwife seems to have a clue or not do anything about, still being able to exercise or asking questions like, why does this look like this? Why is my vulva throbbing? Like you said, people just didn't talk about it. And social media wasn't as, big even then. You couldn't just go on Google it. And I lived in the Middle East at the time as well. I couldn't go and go, why is my vulva throbbing? I'd have been arrested. My computer would have shut down. And so it just got me dead fascinated about just finding out more about women's health. And so I just kind of went down a rabbit hole and it's like you start reading things and you're like, what? No one's told us this, and why is this, and why can't we do that? And that was it. Then I just fell off a cliff of women's health.
But you must have really loved it because you've so many credentials. There's a million letters after your name. So.
Yeah, I'm like a serial student. My husband's just please do not sign up to another course.
Stop.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do love it. It's dead interesting. Obviously, being a woman, and I have daughters, but it's just it's mad. I was reading some stats the other day that something of all medical research being done, only 2.5% is done on women. Bearing in mind we're 51% of the population.
Isn't that crazy?
Joking.
I'm not surprised actually, but it's mad that, isn't it?
That is crazy. And we are finding that a lot of, if not most of, our guest speakers on our pod are doing the job because there weren't the answers that they wanted when they were in the trenches of, say, new motherhood or whatnot.
Yeah.
So
blows your mind, doesn't it?
It does.
And so what are the majority of the women that you're dealing with, are they post-pregnancy? So what kind of work do you do to help women build their confidence after pregnancy? Because from my experience, I had 2 C-sections. I wasn't expecting the pelvic floor stuff, and I thought that was from giving birth, but actually it was the pregnancy.
Yeah, the pregnancy weight.
My mum tum, the shelf, the C-section scars. I mean, these are things that I talk to a lot of my mum friends about. So talk us through generally.
Yeah, I just think the first thing is just education. Is not in a formal, being all sciencey, but just letting people know what's normal and what isn't, and that everyone looks different. We did a thing a couple of years ago where we asked loads of people to send in pictures of the C-section scars And loads of pictures of the fannies as well. Like, we did set off some porn things online that we had to, like, sort out how Google got blocked. But because we wanted to be able to just, like, create some material that we could give to people and go, like, look how different everyone's is.
Do you know how so many of my friends don't know what the fannies look like? I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? When I was at school, we were told, like, get a mirror. Were you? You know, when you're first learning how to put
I went to
temp on
Catholic
it?
school.
I
We
did
didn't do that. Did you? We never got shown that.
I don't remember.
Because otherwise, like, how are you going to know?
Are
what
you?
look
Was this
like?
Yeah.
one particular nun asking you?
There's another episode.
I can't remember, but I remember being told in one of our biology lessons to get a mirror, girls, and have a look. But so many of my friends now, and I mean, I'm nearly 40, they don't know what the fanny looks like. I'm like, how can you not?
We also know that we're going to be blasted from so many feminists on this podcast, because we were just saying before we started recording that often we'll say like vagina or fanny, but really we're referencing a vulva. But just for ease, we're saying vagina. We do know everybody the differences.
The biological differences between
we're just
the
having a
parts.
chat, and when you're having a glass of wine and a cup of tea with your friends, maybe there are, but do you say, oh, my vulva?
No, I always say vagina.
I do too.
We do a thing like, you know, like you'll say people, what's your name, what's your pronouns and stuff, and we go, what do you call it? And people, we have like a whole list of what people want to call it. So
What
when we're
do people call it?
like flour, fluff, tuppence, like honestly,
Tuppence.
that's like a Victorian term or something. All kinds, like.
So this is another thing, right? Not necessarily going off on a tangent, but my son knows the real words.
Yeah.
So, and everybody's different. Like, I know that. My sister and her kids will call it, I think they call it a flower, I don't know. But I actually did, until one of my best friends is a nurse, and she was like, tell me you don't make up names for the body parts. And I was like, well, yeah. And she said, why? Do you have a made up name for their willy? And I was like, no. And she said, so why do you make up silly names for the female parts? And I was like, you're so right. And then when you actually are just that upfront and it's a fact, your kid doesn't bat an eyelid. It's not like they're going to go around the streets chanting vaginas.
Yeah.
It's just, but we were at my sister's house and the neighbour was round, just a little lad playing with one of my nephews. And my son erupts with saying something about a vagina. I don't know what the chat was, but he said vagina. My sister nearly fell off her chair. She was like, Sebastian's going to go home saying that we've been talking about vaginas at my house. And I was like, that's what it's called.
I'm quite open, and sometimes I'm worried like I'm traumatizing Elle, because like she'll see me changing my tampon or my pad, and I'm trying to explain to her about that mummy's having a period, and then she gets really upset, like, I don't want to bleed. I'm like, no, it's, don't worry about it, pet, like, it's not for a while. I'm like, am I doing the right thing and the wrong thing? Then she's telling everyone I have a myriad because she can't say period properly. And then she's like, let me see the bleed again. Let me see him. And I'm now so in my head about the whole thing that I'm like, she went to nursery bawling, crying, that like
because
basically.
of your period.
Yeah, she's like, my mum is bleeding and I don't want to bleed. And I think I got a message from the woman being like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I just have my period. And I didn't know really how to explain it to a 3.5-year-old. Yeah. But anyway, we're digressing.
Yes, we are.
Back to how you help.
Yeah, so it's about education, just letting women know that kind of what their experience is common.
Yeah.
Or normal, or if it's common but not normal, and kind of talking through that, and just about just letting them be a beginner, almost going back to when you've had a baby. It's like a massive trauma to your body.
Yeah.
In this, trying to flip this notion of, bouncing back that we have. Yeah. And that, it's just about listening to your body, but I read something, it sounds a bit cheesy, but it was like, how can you listen to your body if you don't understand the language? And I was like, but I get that, because you listen to your body, but if you don't know what it should feel like, or if you don't know what your vulva should look like, or might look like, or your scar might look like, or your boobs might feel like, how can you do anything?
That's so true.
And also, like, we keep saying post-pregnancy. A lot of the work that women can do is during pregnancy too. Or as you said, you don't even need to have had kids. Like, your pelvic floor is a muscle in your body that is just as important as all the other muscles. But I did not know how to do a pelvic floor lift. I was doing them wrong for years.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, that's such a lie. I was doing them wrong for the 2 times I tried to do them.
I do it 3 times in the car and go, that'll
Yeah,
do.
when in my first pregnancy, I went to my baby shower and my phone kept buzzing. And my friend was like, Nikki, you keep getting these notifications for the Squeezy app. And my phone just kept shouting at me. I downloaded the NHS Squeezy app to do my pelvic floor. I never did them, did them. But
cool
even
app.
when I did, and I finally went to get I did a mummy MOT, and we'll get onto that in a second. She was like, no, you're squeezing everything. You're squeezing your bum, basically.
Yeah.
And it really took me ages to understand actually how to tune into my pelvic floor. And I think so many women they just, to your point, you don't speak the language, but you also don't know what feels normal and what's right. And that's why it's so important to go to somebody like yourself or online to really understand your body.
Yeah, because that's really common that people are just squeezing everything. And then what happens is they actually become too tight. And then that's the problem, because if it's too tight, then that can cause leaking, painful sex, and loads of other problems.
Oh my
that it's not
gosh.
that it's weak, it's that you're squeezing it that tight, you're not allowing it to relax.
How interesting.
Yeah.
And can your pelvic floor, is that, I should probably know this, by the way, this is complete ignorance on our side. By having a weak pelvic floor, is that what causes a prolapse, or is that different?
It can contribute to it because those muscles act as like a hammock
Okay.
under everything. So if those muscles are weak and not doing the job, all like the bowel, the bladder, the uterus and everything drops down because it hasn't got the support underneath it. So then with like straining to go to the toilet and other things and gravity, it all contributes
We
to
get
that.
put through the ringer, don't we?
We really do.
Now, a lot of the work that you do is towards C-section kind of recovery. It's not the only thing, but it's one of the main things, which is super great for me because I'm having one next week, my second one. But I was given absolutely zero aftercare, zero what to expect. Didn't actually know at the time that you can do things with your scar to minimise the scarring and to minimise the scar tissue that knits on the inside. You were just kind of left. And it was told, you'll have a nurse that'll come around that'll take your dressing off. And that was it. And my scar tissue from the inside actually went on to cause years of back pain complications, which I have misdiagnosed for years. I'm believe it or not, a female personal trainer as well. So I love doing my weight training. And that was then hindered because I couldn't do lifts properly. And I'm then thinking it's my back. So I went to so many physios, right, get on the bed, so you'd be on your front, they'd crack you a bit and go, you should be all right. Until I went to this
Strengthen
female
your core.
physio. Yeah, I'm
all
like,
it
my
is.
core's fine. So then I went to this female she's chiropractor in Timperley. And she spent an hour with me asking me, the first time anyone's actually asked me anything medical at all, about any births, kind of your family history. And she kind of explained to me about how our bodies are a huge working machine. And it's not just, oh, you've got a back issue. It's all interlinked and it's all connected. So it was only after that she got me to lie on the bed on my back. And I was like, no one's done this yet. Everyone's put me on my front and treated the back issue. She said, and she literally looked at my back. She stood me up, looked at my back and said, your back's absolutely fine, Michelle. It's your C-section scarring that's causing inflammation, which is then inflaming the lumbar membrane or something, which then caused my back pain. So all I then had was a treatment of like tummy massage, like going up in a diamond and all that. Why the hell is that not explained to us ladies?
Yeah,
like, why do
absolutely.
you think that there's such lack of guidance from...
I think it's lack of knowledge, and I get it that if you think your immediate delivery team in a hospital, the midwives and stuff like that, they've got so much on the plate, delivering babies, the immediate healthcare straight after, that they haven't got the capacity or necessarily the knowledge to then be advising you on other things. And I think, unfortunately, with the NHS, and it's not bashing the NHS, is that if they don't know, they won't say, rather than like say, maybe you could go here or go there. Because if you're not backed by the NHS, they're not willing to
Put it on a
refer or
leaflet.
Even that.
recommend.
Yeah.
Just
But
like-
it's then the cost associated with that. And like then the channels in the NHS has to go to comms, that then has to go to this, that has to go to that,
Yeah.
to go to that, to go
Then
to
the
that.
complications that it causes then
huge.
costs the
You know,
NHS
now that
because we're going to get fixed.
Yeah, now that you're talking about the back pain, I had some really bad back pain, and everybody said, "Oh, lifting the children, bend down to lift." But actually, maybe it was due to my C-section. I never even thought about it. Do the NHS offer a mummy MOT?
No. So you're, the NHS funds a 6-week postnatal checkup for every mum. And that's not the babies, where they check all the hips and do all that stuff. That is for the mum. Now, it's funded. Every single person gets it. You'll find that across the country, it is not standard in loads of places.
Yeah.
Don't even have it. There's a surgery near me that actively has a poster in the wall that says we don't offer it.
I have been twice, and I walked in. I've had 2 C-sections. How are you mentally feeling? Yeah, fine. Do you have support? Are your family living? No. Do you? I'm fine. I was like, do you want to have a look at my C-sections card? No.
What
no,
contraception are you on?
What contraception are you on? But is your mental health okay? And I was like, yes, I'm fine. No, yeah, okay. I had some
I'm on the edge.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, I'm okay.
But I was horrified. Like, did not look at my scar.
It's major surgery.
Didn't ask about anything physical. Nothing. So I did go private for a mummy MOT in inverted commas. And I do think, like, if you have private health insurance with your work, by the way, a lot of the times they are covered in that. Women don't realise. If not, yes, it does come at a cost. And obviously everybody's situation is very, very different. So we're not suggesting everybody can, but it's definitely worth the investment, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
To understand what damage has been done during pregnancy, postpartum, due to your birth. And we talk about C-sections, and we'll stick to that for a minute, but we will talk about vaginal recovery too. But one of the areas when I went, and I'm going to be just dead honest, she said to me, look, overall, you've done well. I didn't have, what do you call?
Diastasis recti,
Yeah,
abdominal separation.
yeah, she was like, look, your core is actually really good. Your pelvic floor is actually a bit too tight because you've been doing the exercises wrong, and that can have a detrimental effect as well. So she gave me all the exercises to do at home to strengthen up. Then she gave me exercises to do for my scar tissue and my C-section. And I went, all the drive home, I was like, well, I'll do that now every night, 10 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Then you go home and you've got 2 kids and nothing gets fucking done, ever.
Yeah.
There just no such thing as a quick fix. Everyone knows on this pod, if you listen, I love a quick fix. Or do you just have to invest the time? And if you do invest your time, what do you recommend to women to make it just easier to wrap their head around and make it part of their daily
Yeah,
routine?
I think it's just we've got to move away from like all or nothing.
Right.
And it just be like all or something. Do you know,
Right.
like something is better than nothing.
yeah.
And that even if you can only just do one thing and you take one thing at a time, like it might be that people always associate things like, brushing your teeth. That we've just got in the habit since we were kids of brushing our teeth, like most people, morning and night. That maybe just doing some pelvic floor exercises or breath work or something just while you do one thing and let that become a habit.
Yeah, that's
and
good
then building
advice.
something else. Because what happens is we try and do everything all at once, don't
Yeah.
you? Like. And then there's just too many things to think about. Like you said with the app, I had a water app to make me drink more water, and a bit like you, it'd be going off, and in the end I'm like, for fuck's sake. Never drank the water. This little trickle goes off every like half an hour or something. And it's just trying to do too many things.
And is it the same with C-section massage? Is it just while you're watching TV, just try and give it a rub?
Yeah, or just when you get out the shower and like, because people got me, when you get out the shower and you're doing your moisturiser and you're doing this, and I'm like, I don't moisturise, so I have the worst skincare routine ever.
Oh, me, Michelle.
I don't have.
You and her could be besties.
I actually bet my baby
Links
lotion
Africa.
every day. That's every day, but it's just not very expensive stuff.
So if you've got a routine, add it in. But if you
Right.
haven't, you're not going to go and just start one all of a sudden. So it's just finding something that you do every day and just trying to attach one thing to that.
What's actually happening in the body when the scar tissue forms? I mean, it can have such big, huge knock-on effects to loads of other things, digestion, like we say, back pain, everything.
Yeah.
What's going on in there?
Well, your body's producing like collagen and things and scar tissue to close the gap because you've been cut through about 7 layers. It's like massive surgery.
This is crazy.
And so that's healing. And when scar tissue heals, it contracts, so it starts to pull tighter. And so if it pulls tighter and it affects all like the fascia, which is kind of like the stuff that joins everything together in the body. And it just starts pulling on it. So if you imagine if you're pulling in all different angles, it could be pulling up from your neck, it could be pulling from your hips, it could be pulling through to your back. Everything's pulling. So what the massage is doing is releasing some of that tension and like what we call adhesions that develop so that the pull isn't as tight, so that when you move, because you think if I pull to it dead tight and then I'm trying to move it, It's going to cause pain over time. Like my sister had a C-section and she had pain for years and years and years. A bit like you told it was a back, it was all kinds. And in the end, they found out that a C-section scar had almost like spiderwebbed inside and attached onto loads of different things in her body. She had to have a full hysterectomy at like 39.
You know the people who are the dickheads in the world that go to Posh to Bush have never actually had a C-section. Like a C-section recovery is so
massive.
It's hugely invasive surgery.
Yeah.
And if you are investing in massaging and all the rest, can it work? Like,
massive work. And although there might be a bit of an investment initially to go and maybe see someone, I mean, there's loads of stuff online and there's some really good stuff online, is that once you've been, you know what to do, because like for us example, we will give you videos, handouts, we give you silicone, we give you creams and stuff and say, take this away and this is what you need to do. Most of the work should come from you doing it.
Because I hate my shelf. Like I'm slim, but I have the shelf. Like I curse my Adenola leggings because I cannot wear them anymore. Obviously, a woman who has not had a baby designed those leggings. And it really bothers me. It really, really bothers me. And I know I just need to spend the time investing in myself. Yeah. I have talked to a few women who have had it removed, and not in inverted commas, a tummy tuck. It's an abdominoplasty. I actually don't know exactly, where they just remove that scar tissue. It's not fat, it's just the scar tissue.
But what can happen there is if you're someone that overproduces scarring, like what we call like hypertrophic or keloid scarring, that same shelf can happen again because you get the build-up of scar tissue and adhesions and the pull happens again. Any surgery can cause it.
Okay, so you have to work on the scar tissue.
It's the scar tissue, releasing it. So the overhang's not caused by being fat. Granted, in some people, they might be carrying a little bit more body fat, but it's the scar tissue pulling in. And if you pull something in, the top is going to shelf over because it's being pulled so tightly from underneath. And it's about releasing that tightness that then allows the shelf to like flatten out.
Right.
I always say it's like, because I got really, really lean, like I'm talking 4 years after I had my son, I started training, I left it a while, but I got really lean. But that little overhang, I used to have to buy underwear and knickers so that I could hide that. And if I pulled it up enough, you couldn't see it. But if I was to just leave it, it used to really annoy me. But I say it's like having an elastic band. So no matter how lean you are, no matter how slim you are, you put an elastic band on, there's going to be stuff that comes over. It used to really annoy me. But
we get comments all the time of people that'll go things like, I don't know why women are so bothered. I'm proud of my scar that gave me my baby. And, like dead judgy stuff like you should be thankful, which I get. There is that side of it. But also, we shouldn't feel guilty for actually wanting to improve it.
It's about confidence for you.
For aesthetic reasons, as well as the tightness and the pain and stuff. It is okay to just not like how it looks.
Yeah,
I'm saying that shouldn't be the be-all and end-all, but it's okay to not be happy with it.
And this is where I'm at with everything in womanhood and motherhood at the moment, which is you do you. Yeah. There is no right and wrong. Everybody has the right to feel what they feel. Everything is relative to that individual person. So allow those people to go and educate themselves, do the work. Don't you worry about it. Put your energy somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then we're obviously talking a lot about C-sections because that's our experience. What about women who've had vaginal births? Because our friends, I've had women who've had incredible, intensive tearing, people who've had no tearing at all, people who have had complications during birth. It can be quite traumatic. What do you see as some of the key challenges around vaginal recovery, and would you have recommendations for that?
Yeah, so same thing with scarring. If you've had stitches and things like that, you can get like perineal scarring and issues around there, and the same principles around massaging. I always do this with my fingers. I was all doing it all the time when I talk about the pelvic floor. I don't know why.
Your daughter's going to kill you.
Yeah, I know.
Well, when I went in for my mummy MOT, she was like, can I do an internal examination? Are you comfortable with that? And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Had enough internals.
I know, but I went home and naturally Mark was like, she did what? she did what? I was like, no, it was the least sexy thing on the planet. Sorry.
But yeah, so that you can do massage techniques around that. You've got loads of issues with weakness in the cord, abdominal separation, which then people end up with almost like still a protruding tummy sometimes with weak core muscles, and they're like, I'm doing all these exercises, I'm doing this, but if your muscles are separated, I think that the research is around if they haven't started to knit back together after 8 weeks, they're not going to without intervention. Now, intervention doesn't have to be surgery.
Oh, that's
it could be exercise, breath work, and other things, because I think everything, pregnancy changes how you breathe, your posture, your biomechanics, everything. And it's about, you can't just fix one thing. I say fix, I shouldn't say that because it's not broken, but you can't just focus on one thing. It's kind of working on the whole body, you know, like kind of rebuilding everything, little bits. So we see a lot of women with issues around the tummy, and then birth trauma as well, even like from sections as well. But that most maternity wards and maternity hospitals will have birth reflections teams, and a lot of people don't know you're entitled to book in at any point, could be years later, to a birth reflections session with a consultant or a midwife. They'll get all your birth notes and they will talk you through the whole birth as to why they did what they did, why you couldn't have this, why you did have that, why this happened, why this didn't happen, why you felt like this. And for some people, it can be really, really comforting.
Wow,
in
I did not know
just
that.
explaining why maybe they had to have an emergency, or why they couldn't have the water birth, or why decisions were kind of taken out of hand. And they'll explain it fully and go through pretty much like minute by minute your whole birth.
Because in the moment, you don't ask those questions, do you?
No.
You're just like,
No.
okay, whatever, you're not in the right headspace.
Yeah.
But so everyone's entitled to that, and we find a lot of putting people in touch with like the maternity voice partnerships at the hospitals is really helpful, because then they can go and speak to somebody and like ask the questions like, why did this happen? And if they understand why, sometimes it makes them feel a little bit more comfortable and not as scared about the next time if they're going to have another.
Yeah, that's so true. And when you talk about being able to go back at any point, is that the same with like a mummy MOT? I mean, you don't have to just had a kid. Can you go at any point?
Any point, yeah, you can still go. Like my mum's in her 70s. She always used to say things about having a weak pelvic floor. And she'd go, "I've had 4 kids," and I'm like, "Yeah, but mum, that's like not an excuse.
Yeah.
It might be a cause." And it was only when she was probably like in her 60s, when I was doing all stuff around this, that my mum started addressing things around her pelvic floor and some issues that, you know, like my younger sister's 41 now, so it's been 40 years since she's...
Yeah, I mean, my mum's had 2 she's had 2 surgeries for 2 prolapses. And I don't know how true this is, but a doctor had said to her, it's hereditary. It can be hereditary or genetic. Hereditary is probably the better word. So she said to me, it's something you need to really think about. So you mentioned earlier that we just normalize it by going, oh my God, I laughed and I weed. I went on the trampoline. What is normal and what's not normal? Like, how do us as women go, okay, I need to do something about this?
So you shouldn't wee at all outside of when you go for a wee.
Oh, okay.
I've got the 100-day cough, and it's
I bet.
Yeah, but so coughing weakens your like
And then
it weakens your pelvic floor a little bit when you're coughing. But if you've already got a weak pelvic floor, it's going to weaken it even more.
So you should not be weeing at all.
No.
I wonder, of all our friends, I would put money on it that 80 to 90% are going to say I absolutely, not all the time. I don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
What if you do it some of the, are you saying some of the
So
time?
even if you do it some of the time, it tells us there's a weakness or a dysfunction going on that is something that can be addressed.
Okay,
and some of it can be addressed with, like, as I say, breathing. Sometimes people just don't breathe correctly. Like, so they breathe like really, really shallow. So it's all to do with like the pressure inside your tummy. What should happen is that's your pelvic floor, that's like your diaphragm, then you've got your muscles around. They should like work together. When you breathe in, one lifts. When you breathe out, like the lifts and lowers kind of thing works like that. When they're dysfunctional, what can sometimes happen is when you breathe in or out, you're bearing down into the pelvic floor. So when you should be containing pressure to jump or cough, rather than containing pressure, it's pushing down, squirting out.
Wow. So I think we would say to all women, us included, because I know it's one of those things I know I have to do and I just don't do it. And I'm really trying to change my mindset of going, I go to the gym for all the other muscles. I want to work my brain. Like, this is just as important. And just because like we can't maybe see it or feel it immediately, there is long-term impacts. You talk about your mum, I talk about my mum. You know, we really do need to kind of stop joking about it and make the small exercises. You know the little machine things? I think one of them is an LV that you can actually put inside and it connects to your phone and it contracts. Are they a load of rubbish?
I don't know a lot about them. I know sometimes you can hire them from the hospitals and things if you've got like problems with pelvic floor.
Okay.
I'd say initially, rather than trying to use a gadget, get your mind-body connection working, because you can become over-reliant on these like stimulatory things that then when you're not using them, you can't
It's like the bullet.
connect
Yeah.
the muscle.
Too reliant on the bullet.
We should start selling the bullet. Also, on another business plan, and I'm going to lie and say this idea is patented, but like we were talking on my mum's WhatsApp group, and we were talking about the Strava app, you know, the
running
cycling
thing.
app.
Yeah.
And we were like, if you made pelvic floor like a competitive sport. So I was like, we should do an app called the Strava, where it's like you have to compete against your friend on who did your pelvic floor, it's like how many. But I swear to God, because if anyone knows me well, if I say I'm going to win in something, I'm not going to win. I'm going to fucking win. I'm going to have the tightest
Cracking walnuts.
cracking walnuts, exactly. That was right. So maybe that's going to be
It's a very good
business
idea. Another business idea.
just
Put it on the
saying.
list.
Just to put it on the list.
I know of one. Well, now I know of yourself, but there's one kind of more local to where I live that does the mummy MOTs. It's called Bump and Beyond.
Deb. I know Deb.
I think so,
Yeah,
yes. So it was one of my PT ladies, one of my clients started going to her because she had some incredible like complications and issues. But she kind of went on her program and she saw great progress with her pelvic floor and everything else. What does a mummy MOT consist of? Like if I came to you after I've had this one and said, right, I just need you to kind of like fix me. Do you have a baseline thing? Do you assess?
So the actual mummy MOT program that Maria Elliott, Women's Health Physio, set up does have like a set pro forma where you look at like, it's not just about pelvic floor. There is an internal assessment if you're comfortable having one, but it's not like a deal breaker in the appointment. It's looking at like the whole body. So I don't know when you had yours, whether they'll look at like posture, they'll look at breathing mechanics, they'll look at how you breathe in your pelvic floor when you move, because it's not just about being laid there on a bed.
Yeah.
So when I had a mummy MOT, she assessed my pelvic floor in a squat.
Right.
Now,
Interesting.
not everybody might be comfortable having that, you know, like
squat
while my hands in.
Yeah.
But to give you
that's how I
an
did
idea,
it,
because actually it's got to replicate real life. That actually you might be all right when I'm just laid on a bed, but the minute I stand up and gravity or I start lifting away and I bear down, that might be what's causing my pelvic floor issue. And so it's looking at more than just that. It's looking at your whole body recovery, checking for abdominal separation, having a look at your C-section scar if you've got one. There's obviously so much you can do in an hour, but you just get a really good picture of strengths and weaknesses, and kind of just a bit of an area of focus. Now, if that's all you can afford, that's great, because if you know what areas you need to work on, there's quite a lot of resources online now. You can go and find things. You don't necessarily have to pay for the second, third, fourth appointment.
Right.
And talk to us a bit about your, I know, and it's all tongue in cheek before everyone comes after us, but the Fix Your Fanny campaign, is that something that happens after the mummy MOT that you meet women regularly? Would talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, so it was as I say, we're not saying that your fanny's broken kind of thing, but we just needed something that rhymed. And it's just like, I like alliteration.
I like it.
And it's not your fanny, it's your, like,
we get it. Everyone knew.
But it was more just about like, one, it was about trying to get people to talk about it and go, actually, we do need to talk about vaginas, vulvas, everything that's going on, and prolapses and things. And it's about what you can do in the early days after having a baby, because literally, immediately after a C-section, obviously once the anaesthetic wears off, and after vaginal delivery, you can start doing some gentle pelvic floor work in just while you're there in your hospital bed.
Really?
And it's more about teaching women how to do it, trying to explain to them. So we always use this analogy of like a blueberry, because even the Squeezy app, which is a great app, is called Squeeze.
Yeah, it's giving
it's not a squeeze, because
Is it not? I'm trying to
It's
do
a
it now.
lift.
This
It's a
is a
lift.
definite squeeze.
I've
Yeah.
actually worked, and it is a lift, and the difference of the feeling once the penny dropped for me, and it took a while for it to click. I was like,
Yeah, it's a
I don't
lift.
know.
So think like the movement of a jellyfish. It should be like a lift and a lower, but the lift and the lower are equal. So the relaxation is just as important as the lift. What a lot of people are doing is this squeeze, 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 squeeze. So we say that imagine you should be able to pick up a blueberry with your vagina, suck it up in,
Love this.
and lower it back down without popping the blueberry. That's as strong as it should be.
Yeah.
You shouldn't break the blueberry.
imagine. There is no, that
trying to
blueberry
do it.
is lost.
In the vacuum.
That blueberry is
Gone into the abyss.
is never coming back.
Not in the early days, it might be a plum.
Yeah. And so it's going to be a big fat orange for me.
But it's more about just trying to explain to them that like it's
No, I
not
get it.
this big squeeze.
Yeah.
It's gentle.
Aggressive.
Yeah, and then talking about like how then once you've mastered that, it's
Yeah.
then going, well, the next step then is you should link that movement to your breathing. So you should lift when you breathe out, and lower when
I
you
just
breathe
did
in,
that.
and kind of like then and
If you
moving
have
through
any
those.
teachers, the game changer for me was a friend of mine was a yoga teacher, and she actually came around. I think I was day 4 coming back from the hospital, and she was like, "Do you want to do some work?" I was like, "Are you joking?" And then she was like, "No, just as you're lying there," and she put a scarf around my stomach, and she basically just like pulled it really gently, and that was when the penny dropped around the pelvic
Yeah.
floor. She was like, lift as I kind of pull the scarf. And she was like, it just helps re-knit all the muscles and everything. It gets it moving internally as well as you walking. And I definitely feel like it made a huge difference.
Yeah, and the relaxation, just getting people to relax it, because if you lift, and no relaxation, it then becomes tight, and that's when people can get like dead painful sex or leaking again because it's so tight.
Is that the sexual dysfunction you talk
Yeah,
about? So
yeah.
is that just the pain and leaking or...
And tightness, like
Tightness,
dyspareunia
okay.
can be really tight. It can be caused by lots of things like trauma and stuff, but an overactive pelvic floor can also cause painful sex because it can't relax to let anything in.
One of my friends experienced this for years and years. Like, literally couldn't ever have sex with a partner because it was too tight. It was
even with
constant.
lube or anything?
Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. Couldn't get anything.
And then that becomes, after so long, that then becomes a
It's
psychological
psychological,
thing, and then
yeah.
it becomes a much bigger issue
Yeah.
than it originally was if it could have just been released, or, breath work might have initially worked, or even like manual massage. So in the Mummy MT as well, they can teach you sometimes how to do some manual releases yourself.
She was
Okay.
taught that and given different things.
Yeah. Just while we're still talking down there, you may, Claire, you may look at me and be like, you need to tell your friend in inverted commas. It actually is a friend. It's not me, I swear.
My friend.
Not that there's any shame to go to the GP, but another topic that comes up a lot during pregnancy and after pregnancy is a lot of women can experience hemorrhoids and piles, which they never did before due to the pressure. Is that something you see or can deal with, or is that normal, or is that just part and parcel? Some people get it,
we
some
see
people don't.
people with it, and we'd always like say, go and see your doctor. Don't just put up with them, because actually sometimes they can just be popped back up, but other times they do need removing.
Right, okay.
But women will just tolerate them and go, I've had them for like 8 years or something, and it's like,
No.
you really shouldn't be putting up with this amount of pain and bleeding.
Yeah.
But I find that kind of women do tolerate so many things,
So
and whether
much.
it's for like embarrassment of talking about, like going, oh my God, I've got piles. Because I had them after my first, and I was like horrified, and I was like, I remember going to Matthew, oh my God, push these back up, and he's like, I'm not doing that. And he's like, don't even know what they are, and I was like, just think I've got grapes hanging out my arse.
Yeah.
But even, and I was only joking, but even my response being like, oh, my friend, but it's not me thing, like almost immediately making excuses.
Yeah.
Like, I have had piles. I don't suffer them regularly like other people. It was one off and it went away, and I've never had an issue since. But I do know people that it is a problem frequently, or they're there all the time. So again, it's normalizing the conversation and knowing that it's okay.
Yeah, and just saying and telling people that you have them. Like we all in our postnatal sessions and things that we run the group stuff, we're like saying like, this is like your safe space. Like talk about it, because we're all probably thinking it. One of you is just going to be brave enough to say it, and then one person says something, and someone else goes, "I've got that too," or "I had this," or this, and
it's becoming more common for people to be more outspoken. I mean, look at our pod.
Yeah,
I've always been an open book. Like, I don't think it's possible to embarrass me, but I think there is a lot of women who are still very closed books and very self-conscious and not wanting to talk about certain things.
Yeah.
We're just human beings, man.
The hard thing is there's just not loads of outlets for people to go to. We can talk about and go, I've got all these things, and it's like, well, where do we go? Because if you don't get your postnatal check.
But also, it's about prioritizing ourselves too. Like, even if it was out there, we put ourselves last, and it's really important that we don't, because it's not just a physical domino effect, as you said. It can turn into a psychological effort, can affect your confidence, your relationships, like whatever. So it is extremely important to prioritize yourself. So let's move up the body a bit. Do you call yourself a boobologist?
Yeah, it's like a joke
I
thing.
love
Yeah.
that.
Boobologist.
Yeah, boobologist. So I saw on your Instagram that 90% of us are wearing the wrong bra, and that includes a sports bra, which is really important to highlight, because I think everyone just assumes a sports bra is support, and
I
especially
live in those.
and especially in the era of athleisure, like I don't think anybody, when you said that to us sort of on the prep call, I was like, I have never thought about that ever.
Yeah, and I reckon, well, in our clinic, it's 100%. We've never had one woman come in and left in the same size that she came in.
Wow.
And I know from quite a lot of my colleagues who do it as well, that's the same. But the research is around, again, 90% of women wear the wrong size bra. And it's because, and it's not to diss the high streets, but if you get if you get measured on the high street, most of them still use like a dead outdated measurement from like the 1930s when bras weren't made of stretchy fabric. And so it was like a measurement where you measure and then add 4 on or something like that is kind of used. But what ends up happening then is you have too big a band and too small a cup. And we've kind of got this thing in our heads about like big sizes now, you know, from like Pamela Anderson era, that people think, you know, like if you're a double D or something, you must have these big, massive tits kind of thing. But it's not, because it's about how the cup should fit. So like, I'm a 32G.
Wow, I would never. No offense.
Yeah, because you just think G and you think boom like that. But it's relative to like the band size and stuff that most women wear too big a band, too small a cup. And
I think
why
that's
bras are
been
uncomfortable.
happening to me, because so I just like self-diagnosed, and I was wearing, I think it was like a 34C for years, and then I went to Marks and Spencer's, got the measurement, and they were like, "No, you're like a 36." A or B. So I went for this really big wide cup back to this tiny cup. And it always just felt wrong too. I was like, really? I know. Ever since having kids, they literally sucked the life out of my boobs. So there is no real boob there. There's just skin that needs a place to live. And that's why sports bras, I think, suit more. But it's either a lot of gaping or it just feels way too flat and tight.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be to the style. So if you've got, I've got boobs like that, they're like flatter here and they're more fuller there. And so it's about certain styles that you'd go for. But every brand's different. So I could be a 32G in one bra, but then like a 32F in another, or a 32E in another. And it's about teaching women how to measure themselves so that it shouldn't really be like, you don't go and buy shoes, really, and just pick a pair without trying them on, do you?
No.
You should try them on, and really bras should be like that. Is you have a baseline size, but I have shoes where I'm a 4.5 in one, a 5 in another, and your bras should be like that based on the brand that you're wearing. They won't be the same if they're in different brands.
So if they're different brands, how do you work it out?
So you go off your baseline measurement. So if you've been measured properly and you have like your baseline.
Where do you go to do it? How do you know if you're being measured properly?
So we do something called posture fitting, which is like she's called the Booby Physio. She developed this system that is about measuring bras, but looking at it more from a postural point of view. Because if you're in the wrong size bra, there's like loads of research that shows it can cause headaches, back pain, affect your posture as you become an older lady, and we start like getting hunchback. And then from a performance point of view, it can affect your performance by about like 40%.
What?
So when you run, your boobs move in 4 directions between 15 and 20 centimetres.
You see, this is why I like to wear, if I was to go for a run, mine at the moment, they're fuller, but in general, they're just like skin. I just don't want them to move.
Yeah,
so
compression.
I'll put 2 on to just keep them there so that I'm running. And because
2's not good though, because then you're causing like lots of compression of the tissue. You can get compressive bras that kind of do that are good for running, that aren't necessarily then the best bras, say for just if you go to the gym lifting weights and things where you want your ribs to be able to expand a bit more and stuff.
Yeah. And what is, so if anyone's listening and they're going, okay, fine, I'm wearing it wrong. What's the importance? Like, why should we be taking this seriously?
Because the only thing supporting your boobs is your skin. Despite like this whole, I must increase my bust pec, your pecs don't support your boobs at all.
Right.
They support your chest wall. So your boobs is all skin, and gravity is going to pull you forward. So it's going to pull everything forward. So over time, skin, we know it's like your skin uses its elasticity and collagen. The skin's just going to get stretchier and stretchier and stretchier, and your boobs are going to get lower and lower and lower, which pulls you further forward.
So you
into
can
hunchback.
help your own sagging of boobs. Like, as in, not all of it just happens. It's actually on the way that
the weight of your boobs.
The weight of the boobs.
Yeah, and even small boobs,
even
people with small boobs, they still will move in the different directions.
I wish I had small little perky things.
Don't we all?
You know, just sit there. What about wearing a bra at night time? This has always been mixed.
Oh,
You know, like when you're a teenager, it's like my mum says we shouldn't wear bras in bed because it'll ruin the elasticity or whatever. And then my mum says you should wear a bra in bed.
It's a personal
What about
preference.
it?
I'm pretty sure. I think Siobhan does wear a bra at bedtime. I don't.
I don't.
Just purely, I don't know why I don't. But when people say, I can't wait to get my bra off because it's uncomfortable, that's a sign you're in the wrong size.
That's me.
Because if it's the right size, you shouldn't feel like you have it on, really. It should just be like a sock.
Who was it when we were growing up? Do you remember this? I must increase my bust.
And you do this like thing, like,
Was it like the
pecs?
Who was it?
We'll come back. If anyone's listening and is a 90s baby, well, I'm an 80s baby.
I'm 80s.
Didn't he used to do like the aerobic stuff?
No. There was it was a woman. Or wasn't it like a girl, like a teenage girl at the time or something? And she used to do
was it in a film or something?
Yeah,
I don't know,
anyway,
But so if you feel like you need to take it off, it's a sign it's the wrong size. So things like if your underwire, the wire is irritating you, it's probably the wrong size cup, a too small a cup because it's hitting breast tissue and it shouldn't hit breast tissue, should be on your ribs. If your band moves up, sometimes people rides up, especially when they lift their arms up, the band moves, too size. If you get more than 2 fingers in the strap, too big. A lot of women ask, I could put my head in. Like the back pulls out like that.
I just don't like the overbulge or the underbulge, so I prefer
4
it
boobs,
to be a little,
4 boobs is a sign it's the wrong size. Shoulder indentations, wrong size.
And do you have brands that you like? Like if you were to recommend to some of the listeners?
Yeah, I like Panache. When I first came across them, I was thinking Panache sounds like such an old grandma brand. But actually, their sports, I love that. I've got one on now, actually. I love their sports bras and their T-shirt bras are really nice. They fit really well.
Oh, I try that. And how do you, because you have a teenage daughter.
Yeah.
And I have teenagers in my life. And I mean, I can't imagine ever getting them away from Tala and Adenola and Skims and like the marketing behind some of these brands is phenomenal. Like, how do we move them towards, firstly, are all of those bras not good for you, or any of those sports bras?
The key thing you want, the key thing you want is underwired, racer back, and for in a sports bra, and sometimes padded. Gives you the support, so those kind of three things.
Underwired in a sports bra. Yeah. None of my sports bras have wires in them. Do yours?
Mine do.
Do they?
None of mine do.
No, none of mine do. They're just one bit of material. Some might have a racer back.
Yeah.
And some might have pads, and purely just because I wanted my boobs
to
look bigger.
The band, and it's the fit of it. So 80% of your support comes from your band, not the straps.
So the band should be bigger.
No, the band should be tight.
Oh,
it should
fit
fit
tight,
properly.
sorry.
Yeah, that's why people get it wrong. So, like with my daughters, I'm probably not the right parenting approach, but like when I wanted them to get rid of the dummies, I showed them pictures of rotten teeth and said, "This is what your teeth will do." So then I just show saggy boobs and go, "This will be your boobs. You'll have spaniel ears when you're 30." So.
And it worked.
Yeah, so like I kind of like if you need to, obviously every now and then they'll wear those other daft bras and stuff, but when you've just got a fabric with no shape, no support, not even racer back, it's purely aesthetic. It's not doing anything to support.
So you've got that brand. Is there like a trendy brand out there that is kind of realising? We talked about it.
I'm trying to think. Portsmouth University have a really good, it's probably one of the best breast health research groups, and they've like literally road tested so many sports bras, and they have them on the website.
Oh, okay.
And they rank them and rate the ones that allow them to.
Sorry, what's that called again?
Portsmouth Breast Health.
We'll put that in the show notes.
Portsmouth Uni, yeah.
Okay.
They've road tested loads of bras. So so Tiger's Eye, for example, is another bra. I mean, they're expensive. They're about 120 quid for the bra. But they're like dipped in silver, and you don't have to wash them after every use because of the
antibacterial. It's like the silver cups.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got one of those. They've been tested by Portsmouth as being really good for like running and different things. There's quite a few brands that have been tested.
Okay.
Like the name of that one too.
Yeah.
And that Tiger's Eye, I think, supports quite a few military organisations around the world, like providing their bras as well.
So is there any kind of like so I don't think I wear the right bras at all. Is there kind of a time where there's no point, but can the damage be reversed?
Yeah, in terms of the skin stretch, not
Right,
necessarily,
right.
but in terms of how it can then affect your posture and improving then the stacking of your spine.
Right.
Yeah, that can still be reversed at any age, and it's never too late to kind of get the right support. 'Cause what you end up happening is a lot of women have boobs that go east and west, and we call them like dip deadlights down. What you want is full beam, pointing
Yeah.
north.
Oh, I love full beam.
beams.
I want full beam.
Full beam pointing north.
What bra do we need to buy to get full beams?
You just need a bra that fits.
Okay.
And you know, we talk a lot. You mentioned there about the stacking of the spine, including myself. I know so many people that are going to physios or osteos for back issues or hip issues, and the conversation is always, do you sit at your desk?
Yeah.
Do you like hunch over your laptop?
Ignoring the two big
Yeah,
elephants in
is
the
anyone
room.
asking about, are you wearing the right bra? Because
Yeah.
actually that could be putting all the pressure on your
You've
back
got
as
big
well.
boobs. You've got some weight. You could have a couple of kgs on the front.
your
You know, it's like when you're
chest.
carrying a backpack.
Yeah.
And you feel at the end like, oh God, this is like, I can feel this.
Yeah.
If your boobs aren't supported, all that
Yeah.
is pulling forward.
Didn't
I
you-
mean, I tried Primark. Forgot to say that. I think they're like a £5 t-shirt bra. They do a D to H range now in that. They weren't too bad, you know. Like
Oh,
for
wow.
for a
I
five
love Primark
for a
for something,
£5
yeah.
bra, it wasn't true to measurement. I had to like try some different ones. I think I can't remember what size I came out with, but they were all right. For as a t-shirt bra
That's amazing.
in the bigger sizes. You know, if you can't afford to like spend 50, 60
Yeah.
quid on a bra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you brought some boobies today.
I have brought some boobs. You can guess, you can feel them and see what it's
Let's
an.
do
It's
it.
a. It's a.
Oh, where are they?
They're just out there. Shall I
Go and
grab
get
them?
them.
Yeah.
Yes,
Go grab them.
please. Yeah.
Lucky.
These.
Are we to? So are you going to put them on?
Yeah,
so
but
for
we get
anybody that
people to put
isn't,
'em on.
if for anyone that isn't watching, Claire actually has some. What would you call those? Prosthetic boobs?
Yeah.
Yeah, prosthetic boobs in studio. She's going to show us a little demonstration, which
But if you-
may not work on the pod, but we'll definitely put it on our
If
socials.
you feel just them,
God, they're well heavy.
you imagine that on the front of your body.
Wow.
Just
my
a rough
gosh.
estimate, like
And what size are these?
Roughly the weight of a C cup, a small C cup.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'd love them again. Can I bring them to a doctor?
Yeah, can you?
And be like, can you give me these, please? Like, if I took
really
off my
want
bra now, the nipple would be down here. She's got fabulous boobs,
She
this
has.
one. Does she have a name?
No, she have not named them. Actually,
We should
boobs.
name them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to name mine Peter and Paul, and I don't know why I gave them blokes' names. Like, beep, beep.
But yeah, so that's just giving you an idea. Like that's like,
Wow.
and they're small boobs in terms of like the average general population. So you think you could have like if you've got a couple of kilograms on the front, well, you just use them because they're your boobs. But if you actually think about then that weight you've got on the front of your body.
Do you ever strap
Massive.
those to any men in your life? You know the way you see men,
Yeah,
people put the pregnancy belly so
Yeah,
they
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Have you ever put that on a bloke and he's like,
Yeah.
wow, I've never
Yeah,
thought
no,
about it
they're always
that
like
way.
this when you're talking to them. They're like.
That's
They're like stroking it, you know, like not thinking about it, and then they get dead embarrassed when you go, what are you doing?
But like I do that. I was always that person. I get comfort in my boobs, and I often will have my hand down my top or under my armpit holding them. Do you do that?
No, I just hate mine.
Have you?
give them
You've
any
always not really loved your boobs.
No.
though,
So
have
then
you
when I
not?
was single, I was like, I need to decorate these bad boys. So then I got my tattoo like around my boobs and got them both pierced just because I just wanted
Nice.
to make them look pretty.
Yeah, well, you do you.
Yeah.
So if there was one thing that you could see a big shift in our healthcare system, you know, we've talked about recovery, we've talked about our postpartum journey, or even we really want to highlight it is not just for women who have had kids. Like it is just female health, actually, we should say, boob health, etc. If there was one thing that, or two things that you could see the NHS or the Irish HSC system do, like what
I think it would be just to have like a thorough women's health appointment, like not calling it a mummy MT, but like an MOT.
Yeah.
That like you go in and it's a thorough check.
Yeah.
Do you know of like your pelvic health, your breast health, like your posture, your mental health, like that. You know, even if I know we haven't got time, but in an ideal world, let's say you had an hour or 90 minutes or something to just have a little look at everything. Think of the things that we could potentially prevent. Catch early,
Exactly.
treat, like, you know, just purely from like a musculoskeletal perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about diseases or anything that might stop you having long-term back pain when you're older, continence issues and all these things that ultimately cost the NHS.
Exactly.
It's like we treat like at the end point rather than try and prevent it.
That's it. We treat at the end point rather than prevention. That's it. Point blank.
Yeah, we wait till it gets bad.
And I think this is why this contributes so much to why women just put up and shut up, because they think about it. You leave the hospital, you've had serious surgery, no one's checking on you. So you're almost like, may as well just shut up then. And it's terrible.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to talk about it more. Like, so one of the things we're trying to do is like schools. So we get a list of like, you need a blazer, you need football boots, shin pads, all this stuff. Nowhere does it say you need a sports bra. Should be a key piece of kit.
It should be a key.
How many girls drop out of sport and physical activity when they hit teenage years? And Sport England and this girl Can did some research, and it was saying one of the big factor was the boobs. That they didn't like how the boobs moved or the support of the bra.
So true.
And do you know if any of the female sports teams are backing any of this, like the English football team, the rugby team?
They've all been measured. A lot of them have been measured by Portsmouth. Have been like put correctly fitted. Quite a lot of the sports teams are backing it and saying that sports bra should be a key piece of kit, and it should be in schools.
Yeah,
like 100%. It should be on a uniform list that we should be talking. So we go around, do little workshops with some sports teams for the parents, the coaches, and the girls in saying, sports bras are really important. That you should be wearing one for football, for rugby, for whatever sport it is that you're playing.
And then what about like women are going to listen to this? If it were me, I would do the same. I'd be like, that's so interesting, so interesting. I'll tell a few mates and I'll probably do nothing about it, right? Because it just feels very overwhelming. We've talked about it so much today. If there was one or two things that a woman can do, is it just go and get checked and see where you're at? Or is it just make pelvic floor rehab part of your everyday?
Yeah, I think obviously if you can afford it, go and get checked. But otherwise, learn how to do a correct pelvic floor exercise by watching it. That's only one part of the puzzle. Cause it's like having a car with a flat tyre, 4 flat tyres. Doing Kegels or pelvic floors, only fixing one tyre. You've still got your posture and all those other things. But it's a start. So maybe learn how to do a correct pelvic floor and talk about it. I think the more people that talk about it, the more likely something is to happen. Like, I think that we should go, like, could be another business for you to go with your vagina.
The Strava.
Is that,
someone's going to steal that.
You know when we used to have like Ann Summers parties and like I remember when I was a kid, I'm sure like my mum went to like a Tupperware party or something. It's actually just have like a little like women's health party where someone comes around and they're all there having a glass of wine and stuff. And like, do you have like a little bit of, you might have an internal assessment, you might just have a little bit of a posture check, you might just talk about
and after a couple of glasses of wine, you don't really mind.
Check mine.
What are we doing with the squat challenge?
Checking each other's.
Squat down,
I'll give you a weight.
Yeah, and then when you used to do that thing where you were drinking and be like, walk in a straight line so you can actually stay in a squat.
Who can crack a nut?
Who can crack a nut?
Can you collect a blueberry or an orange?
I love
No, but do you know what I mean? Like,
idea.
because maybe in a group and it's relaxed, you can educate them, but you might be able to pick up on one or two key things for somebody that they might make a small change. That
You've just unlocked a memory that I think I've buried. Going to an Ann Summers party with my mum, who never used to talk about sex with us, and there was just like massive dildos on the table.
Why did you go?
I think I've buried that. Don't know why we went.
Is that where you dropped your 600 quid? Mum, what do you think of this one? Do you want red? Do you want green? Do you want yellow?
Ribbed.
And just before we wrap up, something just struck me there in what you mentioned about the NHS or whatever healthcare provider supporting women. We were talking in a recent pod that we did around sleep, babies with reflux and mums, and she was talking about that in France. The baby and the mother themselves get 5 free osteopath sessions as part of the national healthcare system.
good.
Yeah.
Because it's so incredibly important that a baby scrunched in, mum carrying the baby, that the health of your body and the evaluation of that and training of that is so incredibly important. So can people just do that rehab stuff with you, or would you also say like go to an osteopath? They're a really good place to start.
Yeah, no, they can do it fine. Like even like pre and postnatal personal trainers will have a good knowledge of around like the body changes.
Right,
that if they went to a PT, it's a postnatal specialist, and said, I've had this checkup and I know I've got weak pelvic floor, I've got weak this, weak that, with that. They know how to program exercise and they know the body, they'll be able to support them.
Oh, perfect. So you could do 2-in-1 exercise and have your...
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Right. So one lesson, what have you taken? So if you're going to have the baby, what's at the top of your mind that you're like, right, I really do want to get control of that?
So knowing that I can kind of start doing some light exercises, even in the bed from the hospital. I know you've very kindly brought me some creams and things.
Yeah.
Maybe just not putting off my recovery. I can start from straight away and doing a little bit of massage.
Yeah.
Can I do that? I won't be able to do that till my stitches are out, obviously.
No, it's usually about 6 weeks, depending if you've had an infection or whatever. When the superficial scar's healed, you can start working with the scar.
So figuring out how to do my pelvic floor properly, because I think I probably, like I'm wetting myself, but I've got a really tight bum hole, do you know what I mean? Probably been doing it wrong for years. So figuring out
on your gravestone, it's massive, but my bum hole's
Oh God. Yeah, so probably that I can start straight away, work on my pelvic floor, and also I'm going to book in for an MOT. I don't want to leave it like I did last time and suffer for years.
Yeah, because once you know, don't you? Like you've got the information, you might choose to do nothing with it, but you know at least then, like.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. I have been lying to myself, and probably I'm definitely that individual that laughs and assumes it's kind of normal.
Yeah.
I've had 2 kids. I did go and get a mummy MOT. I know what I need to do. I just didn't do it. But I do have not incontinence all the time, and that's why I think it hasn't been urgent for me. But it's definitely there sometimes, which means there is a weakening, and that weakening is only going to get weaker and weaker and weaker.
Because as we get older, over 40, I think you lose something like 8% muscle mass per decade. So your pelvic floor's a muscle, that's going to naturally get weaker.
Yeah, and then I'm in perimenopausal type age, and when you get to menopause, because of the drop of estrogen, doesn't that significantly impact your vagina, vulva, pelvic floor, all of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm getting a grip of that.
Yeah. It's hard to get a grip of something when it's not a daily irritant.
Yeah.
The only reason I kept up with my
No
massage
pun
was because my back.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a grip on something when you can't get a grip on anything.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
That's been amazing. Claire, thank you so much.
I think our listeners are going to take loads from that.
Yes, and if you have any questions, please email motherloadingpodcast@gmail.com. We will have all Claire's details in our show notes, and we'll be doing some socials, so you'll be able to connect with her online. What's your website, Claire, or is it through Instagram?
It's through Instagram.
Okay, yeah. And what's your Instagram handle?
Women's Rehab Collective.
Okay, amazing. Claire, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you
so much. Thank you, Claire.